I want to start this deep dive by setting a very specific scene.
Okay, let's do it.
It's a moment the source material really dwells on, and honestly, it's one I think everyone listening has experienced. Probably more than you'd care to admit.
I'm already nodding.
Right. It's late at night, the noise of the day has finally faded out, your phone is face down, the room is quiet, and in that silence, your mind just starts to drift.
It's that unguarded territory, isn't it? That space between being awake and falling asleep where your defenses are down.
That's the exact spot.
Yeah.
And in that moment, for just a second, I want you to imagine you see yourself in the future.
But, and this is a really important distinction the source makes, not the fantasy version.
No, not the highlight reel. This isn't the version with six-pack abs and $1 billion accepting some award.
Right. Strip away the fantasy. This is the real version, the inevitable result of the path you are on right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just you. Older, wiser, and carrying the weight of all the choices you're making today. That version of you is standing there, and they have something to say.
And that's our deep dive today. We're looking at a source called The Wisdom of Your Future Self. It's essentially a collection of messages from that older you to the you of today.
So what's our mission here? Because when I hear future self, I immediately tense up. I expect a lecture.
Totally. You expect a guilt trip, a whole productivity sermon about all the things you're not doing.
Exactly, like I'm about to be scolded.
But that's not what this is about. This is about a perspective shift. We're trying to interpret the message your future self is sending so you can actually change how you live, starting from this moment. It's an intervention, sure, but a compassionate one.
Not about beating you up, but waking you up.
Precisely.
And the first thing that struck me about the source material was the tone. You expect that intervention to be loud,
Yeah.
a drill sergeant screaming, "Get up, do the work."
But it's not. It's much, much quieter, and that, in a way, makes it so much more powerful.
How so?
Well, the future self doesn't start with shouting. They start with a question, a really simple, quiet question.
Which is,
why did you wait so long?
oof.
Yeah, that hits harder than shouting.
It really does, doesn't it? Because you can argue with someone who's yelling at you. You can get defensive.
You can put your guard up.
Exactly. But a quiet, honest question like that, it gets under your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And the text is really clear that it's not asked angrily. It's genuine curiosity. Why did you wait?
It forces you to look at your reasons, and when you actually look at them, I was too busy, I wasn't ready, they just kind of crumble.
They look pretty flimsy when you have to explain them to the person who knows how the story ends.
So this connects to the idea of regret.
It does,
But-
and it completely redefines it. I think most of us have this cinematic idea of what regret is.
Right, the big explosive failure.
Yeah.
The business that went bankrupt, the huge public embarrassment.
The crash and burn. We think, as long as I don't do that, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But the source argues that real regret, the kind your future self actually carries, is much quieter. It calls it the regret of inaction.
So it's not what happened, it's what didn't happen.
Exactly. It's the accumulation of all the small delays, the chances you almost took, the habits you kept pushing to next Monday, the conversations you avoided because they felt a little uncomfortable.
The blank pages.
The blank pages. That's a great way to put it. Your future self remembers the silence where there should have been words. Psychologists actually back this up. In the long term, people regret inactions way more than actions.
That makes so much sense. You get over a mistake, you learn from it, but inaction just gives you nothing. Just a what if.
It haunts you.
So what are we waiting for then? The source brings up something it calls the permission fallacy. It says we aren't really waiting for more time, we're waiting for permission.
This is a huge psychological barrier. It's this subconscious belief, maybe from school or something, that an authority figure needs to hand you a permission slip.
Permission to start.
Permission to start the business, to write the book, to even just want more from your life. It's like imposter syndrome in action. We're waiting to be told we're qualified.
But the reality check is,
It's brutal. The reality is no one is coming to give you that permission. The people you admire. No one tapped them on the shoulder. They just started. You have to give it to yourself.
that's both terrifying and incredibly liberating.
It is. And while we're waiting for this imaginary permission, we retreat to what feels good. We retreat to comfort.
Now, I love comfort, but the source describes it in a way that, it made me shudder a little. It calls comfort the most expensive habit.
It's such a brilliant metaphor, right? Because when you're in it, comfort doesn't feel dangerous. It feels safe. It feels earned.
Right. I had a hard day. I deserve this.
And sometimes you do. But the source says comfort is quietly charging you interest. And the currency isn't money.
It's momentum. It's growth.
It's years of your life. You're paying for that feeling of safety with your future potential. And the really scary part is you don't see the bill until much, much later.
And you wake up a decade from now and realize the cost was just astronomical.
You bought a comfortable cage.
And fear is what keeps us in that cage. The source talks about fear as a storyteller. And let's be honest, fear is a fantastic storyteller.
Oh, a Pulitzer winner. It weaves these incredibly detailed stories. It tells you you're not ready. It tells you you're too far behind. Or the classic, everyone is going to laugh at you.
That social fear is a big one.
It is. But the future self, looking back, just kind of smiles sadly at this because they know the truth.
Which is?
None of those disasters you directed in your head ever actually happened. Not the way you imagined. But the fear itself shaped your decisions. The story mattered more than the reality. You were stopped by a monster that wasn't even there.
That's just tragic. So how do we break out? The usual advice is, get confident.
Right, fake it till you make it, all that stuff. But the source just flips that completely upside down.
What does it say?
It says your future self wants you to know that confidence was never required. We think we need to feel confident before we act.
I'll do it when I feel ready. I've said that a million times.
We all have. And the source is crystal clear. Ready never arrives. It's a mirage. The people who moved forward, they didn't feel any braver than you do. They were probably terrified.
So what did they have, if not confidence?
Willingness, that's the word. They had the willingness to move with doubt beside them. They didn't wait for the doubt to leave. They just brought it along for the ride.
I love that image.
Yeah.
Doubt is just walking next to you and you refuse to let it steer the car.
That is the entire mechanic of action. You do the hard thing and then you get confident. Not the other way around. And acting while you're afraid, that protects you from the other great lie. The lie of later.
Ugh, later. It's such a seductive word.
It feels so harmless, right? Like you're just rescheduling.
It's a not yet, not a no.
But later is where dreams go to sleep. And later, as the source says, eventually becomes never. There's never a perfect time. There is only now.
So this brings us to the how. If we stop waiting, what do we actually do? I think we assume we need this huge life overhaul montage.
The trap of intensity. We think progress requires some explosive effort. But the future self, they remember it differently. They don't remember the fireworks. They remember the ordinary days.
The Tuesdays.
The Tuesdays, exactly. The mundane Wednesdays. They remember the mornings you could have gotten up 30 minutes earlier. Not 3 hours, just 30 minutes.
Or the evenings you could have practiced a skill instead of scrolling.
These are the micro decisions. The source lists them out. Things like drinking more water, learning one skill, saving a little bit of money.
Or saying no when you needed to. Saying yes when it scared you.
They seem so small, they feel insignificant. And that's the point. We underestimate consistency because we're obsessed with intensity.
Right. We go to the gym for 3 hours on January 1st, burn out, and don't go back for a month.
And then we feel like a failure. Burnout teaches us the hard way. That boring, consistent effort does more in 1 year than sporadic motivation does in 10. Your future self wishes you had trusted the boring work sooner.
It's the 1% better every day idea. It's just that 1% feels invisible in the moment.
It does. And trusting that invisible progress. That's discipline. Knowing that the future self is being built brick by boring brick.
Now, we've talked a lot about internal stuff, but we don't live in a vacuum. The source touches on the people around us, which I found fascinating. It says the future self remembers 2 types of people.
They do. First, they remember the ones who just quietly supported you. The ones who believed in you, who cheered for the small wins.
And the second type.
The voices you listen to too much.
The doubters.
The doubters, the distracted, the fearful. And the point the source makes is so profound, you didn't have to carry their limits.
What does that mean?
We take on other people's limitations. If your friend is afraid to start a business, you start thinking it must be too scary for you too. We adopt their worldview.
And the future self knows you didn't have to carry that luggage.
Exactly. Their fear was theirs to keep. It wasn't a gift you had to accept.
And speaking of luggage, there's the baggage of comparison. Measuring your timeline against everyone else's. Social media just makes that 1,000 times worse.
Comparison is a thief. It delays action because if you feel like you're behind, you might just give up. Why bother running the race?
I missed the boat, so why bother swimming?
Right. But the insight here is there's no universal schedule. There's only direction. Are you moving forward? That's all that matters. Your future self doesn't care if you got there 3 years later than your roommate. They just care that you got there.
The source also makes a quick but important point about our physical bodies. The body keeps score.
It's a vital reminder. We treat our bodies like a taxi for our brains. But your future self has to live in the body you're building right now, through sleep, movement, neglect, or care.
It's not about looking a certain way.
No, it's about respect and capacity. It's hard to enjoy your wisdom if you're in chronic pain because you never stretched. You're handing them a broken instrument to play.
It's an act of kindness to your future self to just drink some water and take a walk.
It really is.
So let's say we do all this. What does success actually feel like, according to the source? Because it's not what I expected.
It's not fireworks. It's not a standing ovation. According to the source, success feels like relief.
Relief.
It feels like quiet pride and a sense of alignment.
I like that word. Alignment.
It's when who you are on the inside finally matches what you're doing on the outside. The joy comes from the private knowledge that you didn't quit on yourself.
There's also a note on communication, the regret of words left unsaid.
Yes, the future self regrets the silence more than the awkward conversations. Honesty would have saved time. Silence cost more. It cost clarity, connection.
So the future self wishes you just said the thing.
I love you, I quit, I'm sorry, no. Whatever the truth was, they wish you hadn't swallowed your words just to make other people comfortable.
The theme here seems to be that we underestimate our own resilience. We avoid the hard things because we think we'll break.
That's the core anxiety. But the future self knows you survived. That strength was always there, you just didn't trust it yet.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, we have to make a crucial pivot. We've been talking about the future self as this separate person looking back.
But this is the flexible moment. The future self can't change their past. They're stuck with the choices you make. They're helpless. But you, the listener, right now, you can change everything. This moment is still open. It's yours.
So what's the request? What is that future self asking for?
But they aren't asking for perfection. I think that's a huge relief. They're asking for honesty, for effort, for consistency. And most of all, they are asking you to stop abandoning yourself for the temporary safety of comfort.
And there's a promise attached to that.
The promise is that if you start now, imperfectly, quietly, your future self will be grateful. Not because life becomes easy. Life is never easy. But because you showed up. You gave them a chance. You built a foundation they can stand on.
I want to end with the final message from the source, because it's just beautiful. This is what the future self says to you if you start today.
Let's hear it.
They say, thank you for not waiting. Thank you for choosing differently. Thank you for becoming who I get to be.
That phrase, who I get to be, is so powerful. It reframes your future self as a privilege you are earning for yourself right now.
It's not a chore. It's a gift you're wrapping. Every hard choice today is a gift to the person you'll be in 5 years.
And remember, this whole message isn't pressure, it's permission. Your future self isn't disappointed in you. They're hopeful. They are waiting to meet the version of you that starts today.
So here's the final thought I want to leave you with. What if your future self isn't a judge sitting up on a bench, shaking their head at you? What if they're your biggest fan, sitting in the stands of a game that isn't over yet, just waiting and hoping for you to make the play they know you can make?
That changes how you play completely. You're not playing out of fear. You're playing to fulfill that hope.
It really does. Thank you for listening to this deep dive. Go make your future self proud.
See you next time.